Yeah, hey guys, Tekking here. Simple question. Shinji had a Bankai, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. Probably. Yeah. Shinji's a weird case. He really is. Because like I said, I'm not going to be making videos about every single Bankai that we didn't get to see in the series, okay? Because like Love, for instance. Love is another visor that was capped in class, and he did have a Bankai. But he didn't really show up that much in the final arc. Not really that much in the series, really. So I know there was a few people that were probably on the edge of their seats, kind of holding out to see what his Bankai was, because his Shikai was pretty cool. But I don't think there was a lot of people. There was the Zero Squad. The Zero Squad was such a big letdown, right? It was like, man, they made it so close, but they just didn't meet the cut for the team, you know? It sucks because that's part of the reason why everyone was so hyped to see them. Like, whoa, the Zero Squad, the Royal Guard, these are like the gods of Shinigami. Like, I wonder what their Zanpakutos are gonna be like. Their Shikai alone must be so OP. And it turns out of the 5 members of the Zero Squad, we only got to see Shikais from 2 of them and a Bankai from 1. So yeah, that was pretty much of a letdown. But once again, the Zero Squad, they show up, but they're not really that prominent. We just found out about them this last arc. We just got to see them this last arc. Shinji, on the other hand, has been a staple in the Bleach series ever since the Arrancar arc. In fact, he appeared on the very first cover of the series in Chapter 1. So Kubo had a plan for him and at least knew his character design way back then. He showed up in the Arrancar arc. He introduced Ichigo to visors. He has his own... that's not it. He has his own hollow powers, pretty cool masks, and then after the Aizen fight, after he uses his Shikai and everything, after the Aizen fight, he becomes the captain of the 5th Division. And like, okay, Kubo himself even cuts away from stuff going on in the final arc to see what Shinji's doing. Like, after the fight with Gremmy and Kenpachi gets cratered by Candace Catnip, we cut away to see Shinji, and he's confronting Basby and shit. And this happens a few times. He doesn't have a straight-up fight, just like Shinji versus one Sternritter that we get to see on screen, like the whole fight. But we cut to him throughout points in the arc, and he's one of the captains that goes to the Royal Palace with everybody. So it seemed like, yeah, we're probably going to get to see his Bankai, especially since, aside from Uketake, he's the only current captain that we didn't get to see a Bankai from. And Uketake, that's understandable, because Kubo was not trying to make Uketake like a frontline fighter. Like, he's going to be like, I'm going to take on the Sternritter. I'm going Bankai. That's not what his character is. He's more frail. He's weaker. So it makes sense for him to do the whole thing with the Mime Hage. But it makes absolutely no sense to me why Kubo would not show Shinji's Bankai other than simply there was the time crunch and he didn't have time for it. I don't know when Kubo got the news that he had to end his series after blah, blah, blah chapters. The official announcement came in Chapter 680, but I don't know if Kubo knew about that 1 or 2 weeks before that, or 10 weeks before that. I don't know. But I still think that, yeah, we were going to get Shinji's Bankai. It just doesn't even make any sense, because look how the final battles with the Schutzstaffen went. It was all Bankai, 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 Bankai. Mayuri, new Bankai. Shunsui, first revealed Bankai. Uehara, first revealed Bankai. And then we get to the fight with Gerard, and it starts out okay. We get Kenpachi's Bankai, Toshiro's real Bankai, and then it just turns into a fucking clusterfuck, man. It was just weird. And then Shinji gets defeated when Gerard first goes into his god size. Guess what? That's the last time we see him. He's gone. He's gone. We don't get to see anything. Oh, no, yeah, he shows up in the last chapter, so he survived. Good for him, but that was it. That was it. So, okay, what's his Bankai going to be like? Well, it's obvious that it's going to play off the whole deal with his Shikai. Shinji's Shikai is Sakanade, which means I forget what Sakanade actually means, but it sends you into the inverted world, basically. Now, the inverted world's an interesting thing, and Sakanade itself is a very interesting sword. I love the design of it. The aesthetic and the flair is great. I love the circle thing that, Shinji puts his hand in and it starts spinning, I love when he first reveals it and he's, like, saying to Aizen, like, it's a pretty cool sword, huh? I ain't gonna let you borrow it. And Aizen was playing it cool, but he was saying, like, oh, damn, I wish I could play with that sword. My sword doesn't even change shape when I go into Shikai. This sucks. He has the cool little flare thing, and he has holes in his blade, whatever. But yeah, so what it does, it actually doesn't do anything to the area around him. It's not like reality warping into the inverted world. It's kind of something that one of my science teachers used to say back when we were in school. He would pick up a marker and he would be like, okay, guys, what do you see when you look at this? Like, what would you say you see? And of course, the entire class would be like, that's a marker, right? It's a marker. And he's like, actually, no, you're not seeing a marker. You're seeing the light coming off of this marker that your eyes are then transmitting to that your pupils are then transmitting to your brain, and your brain is deciphering the image in a shape that you recognize, and then you associate that image with a word that you recognize, which is marker. You're not actually seeing the marker. You're seeing the light and whatever your brain is perceiving. So it's kind of the same way with Shinji's Shikai. It emits kind of like a pink mist around you whenever he's like spinning it, and anybody that inhales this mist, I guess their brain just processes the world differently now, and it's now the inverted world. Up is down, left is right, front is back. And I don't know if Shinji can control this, like, to the point where he controls who gets afflicted by it, because it's kind of ambiguous whether or not he was afflicted by it. Because he seemed to fight in this inverted world perfectly. He had everything down. Now, I don't know if that was just because of training or because it just didn't affect him, but his whole thing was, like, to Aizen, like, there's no way that you could possibly process every single change in this inverted world while you're trying to fight. It's just not going to happen. Which is funny because every time he fights against somebody with his Shikai, he's always like, you can't possibly defend against my sword. And every time he gets defeated, Aizen kicks his ass, and then when he uses it against Bambietta, she's just like, oh, okay, I'll just blow everything up then. And then he gets defeated that way. Yeah, also, he uses it in a group fight, too, when Aizen's going on that melee against all the Shinigami captains, and, Toshiro's going to attack him, and then, Aizen's like, oh, I'm just gonna cut Toshiro down, it's easy, and then he looks over and sees Shinji, and he's like, oh, shit, everything's reversed, and then Toshiro runs Aizen through with the sword. Of course, we find out later it's not really Aizen, but it brings up an interesting question. Could Shinji control who is afflicted by it, like he just set it on Aizen, or was it on everybody? We don't know. Also, by the way, people might forget this, Shinji was the first person to injure Aizen. He was the first guy to make Aizen bleed. We didn't even know Aizen could bleed before that. And when that chapter came out, it was like, oh man, Shinji is boss. Yeah, no. I mean, he is, but he isn't. Let's be honest here. Okay, so for a Bankai, obviously it's going to play off the reversing aspect, because that's the whole deal we're doing with here. I'm going to delve a little bit into the fan fictions that people sent me for the We Need a Miracle contest, because a lot of good ideas there on what his Bankai was going to be. A lot of entries, not just the winning entry, had a few different variations of his Bankai being this. It was like the same basic concept, just different ways to present it, is that in his Bankai, it reverses the abilities that people have, other Zanpakuto abilities, which is cool because I don't think we've seen any other Zanpakuto that directly affects like other Zanpakuto abilities or other abilities in general. I never thought we might have seen one. I don't remember one off the top of my head. It's usually just based on like an element or something like that. Shinji's is a very unique sword, is that it creates this weird hallucinogenic effect, or like creates this reverse world. So yeah, I'm going to say that it might have... That's actually one that I really enjoyed. That's why I picked the winner. The winning entry had, like, Shinji's Bankai create, like, these rings around him, and then anything he passed these rings through had their abilities reversed. Like, when he did it against Gerard, his ability to heal when he took damage changed to being damaged when he was healed. That was pretty cool. I like that concept. But there was a few others that did that same basic idea. There was another one that was really funny, and you know what? This would actually make sense why he wouldn't use this in battle. That could be another idea. Like, his Bankai is one of those things that only works in very unique circumstances, maybe like one-on-one or one-on-two fights, maybe when he's like fighting a big group, but not so much when there's like he's only fighting one opponent, or not so much when there's a lot of people around him, like Shunsui. Shunsui's Bankai, you really only have to be... It really has to be a one-on-one fight, because other people are going to get dragged into his effects of his drama, So, this is it, and it's really funny. It reverses or flips the personalities, or like the bodies, and like basically like body swapping from people around him. And the one fanfiction that had that, it was funny because it had people like Rangiku, like personality flipping with Momo. That was pretty fucking hilarious to watch. But also, if that's the case, and if it was something along those lines, like flipping personalities or flipping souls, or like shuffling souls or personalities around, then wouldn't really work that well if you're fighting in a group, because no one would have any idea what to do, On the other hand, if Shinji was like alone facing down against like a group of people attacking him, that ability would be absolutely devastating, you know? So, it might be something like that. It might be something like we couldn't use in a battle like that. But no, I'm going to stick with the reversal of the abilities around him. There's one. The other one was it makes the inverted world, it does actually change it to reality warping. It's not just like a perception of reality where you have to absorb the mist. It's just straight up, it reverses the world around you. Like within a set distance, everything just gets flipped, and the laws of physics just take a back seat for as long as Shinji is in his Bankai form. That was a good one as well. I decided to make this video, though, because, like I said, this was the one that I really, really think, I'm like 100% sure here, that Kubo really wanted to show it off. As I said, he's the only one that didn't get to show it off of the current Gotei 13, that he just had to sacrifice for a time crunch. I'm going to think that Kubo got that notice that he had to end his series after the Schutzstaffen fights, after his, not long after the fight with Askin and Uehara. Because the fights against the Schutzstaffen, you know, you might complain about them, but I think they were paced rather well compared to Kubo. I don't think he was rushing through them. Each one of the Schutzstaffen fights had about 8 or 9 chapters dedicated to them, and I think that worked. And then right around the time we get to Gerard's fight, that's when everything starts speeding up, and I think that's around the time he got the notice. Right, so I think he was right along that track, maybe having Shinji to stand back, like Momo healing him after Gerard, and then he goes Bankai. Maybe it would have worked against him, maybe it wouldn't have, but I think we were definitely going to see it. I'm trying to think of any other Bankai in the series that because this is like the series I've been doing, like, what's the deal with so-and-so's Bankai? But I can't really think of any other Bankai that would really give us a lot of stuff to work with. Like I said, I did Shinji's because, like, he was prominent in this arc. He did show up, but Love really didn't. The Zero Squad, honestly, not really, no. But if you have any other ideas for any other characters, Bankai, you'd like to see, I mean, it was funny because we even got Kenpachi's Bankai. We got Kenpachi, who was never even known to have a Bankai. We got his Bankai before Shinji's. That's hilarious to me. I love that. But, yeah. Let me know below if there's any other Bankais you'd like for me to discuss, and I'll go over them and see if I could get a solid video out of them. Because anyone for the Zero Squad, I wouldn't be able to make a solid video. It'd only be like 5 minutes or something like that. But yeah, let me know below, and let me know what you think Shinji's Bankai could be. But I'm going to stick with the ability warping ability, the ability flipping power, because there's so much potential for that, you know? There really is. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. This will be Tekking101 signing out. Latest.